Have you been feeling it? That shift in the air. That strange calm before a message, a call, a sudden reappearance. Because this is not random. This is not coincidence. Someone who once walked away in pride, in confusion, in silence, is going through something so deep, so humbling that it is changing them from the inside out. And today's message reveals why the silence is breaking, why the ego is collapsing, and why their return feels different this time. Only take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. As I shuffle, the energy is heavy but transformative. The first card that reveals itself is the Tower. This is not a gentle awakening. This is a collapse. Something in their world has fallen apart, a belief, an illusion, a version of themselves they were hiding behind. The Tower does not destroy what is real. It destroys what is false. And their ego, the walls they built, the pride that kept them silent, it has been struck. The second card is the Death card. This is the ego death, not physical, but spiritual. The version of them that refused to apologize, refused to admit feelings, refused to be vulnerable, that version is ending. Death is transformation. It is the painful shedding of skin. They are not who they were when they chose silence. The third card is the Hermit. This explains the silence. They withdrew not just from you, but from themselves. They have been in deep reflection, alone with their thoughts, forced to face truths they avoided. The Hermit energy is not about ghosting, it is about searching. And what they have been searching for is clarity about you. The fourth card is the Judgment card. This is awakening. This is realization. This is the moment someone hears the inner call and cannot ignore it anymore. They are realizing what they lost. They are realizing what you meant. Judgment is accountability. It is the soul saying, you cannot run from this connection. The fifth card is the Eight of Swords. This shows mental imprisonment. They felt trapped by fear, by pride, by what others might think. They convinced themselves silence was strength, but it was actually fear. And now they see that clearly. And the sixth card is the Knight of Cups. This is the return energy. Emotional, romantic, expressive. This is someone who wants to speak from the heart. But notice, the Knight of Cups comes after the Tower and Death. This is not the same person coming back. This is someone softened by loss, humbled by awakening, and emotionally aware in a way they were not before. The ego death had to happen for the silence to break. They are breaking their silence because they can no longer carry the weight of pretending they do not care. The pride is cracking. The defenses are falling. And what is left is emotion, raw, undeniable, and ready to be spoken. Have you felt that strange energetic shift? Like the air is different, like something is circling back, like silence is about to turn into sound? Because this isn't just someone missing you. This is deeper. This is the kind of inner collapse that happens when a person can no longer hide from their own truth. And the reason they're breaking their silence now is because their ego is no longer protecting them the way it used to. It's failing. It's cracking. It's dying. And what rises after an ego death is not the same person who left. Let's go deeper into what the Tower really means here. The Tower is the moment life forces honesty. It's when the universe pulls out the foundation under someone's feet and says, you cannot keep standing on lies. For them, something happened that shook their confidence. It could be an ending, a rejection, a loss, an exposure, a disappointment, or simply the realization that their method of avoiding feelings is no longer working. And what makes this Tower energy intense is that it's not only about external chaos. It's internal. It's the collapse of the mask. They've been living behind a certain image. The one who doesn't care. The one who stays calm. The one who stays in control. The one who never shows weakness. The one who would rather stay silent than admit they feel too much. But now that image is not holding. It's falling apart. And when the tower falls, the ego panics, because the ego is built on control. That's why the death card follows, because after the collapse comes transformation. And death energy doesn't ask for permission. It takes what is outdated. It strips away the version of you that can't survive the next chapter. This is them shedding. This is them losing an old identity. The identity that said, if I apologize, I lose. The identity that said, if I speak, I look desperate. The identity that said, if I show emotion, I become powerless. That identity is dying. And what replaces it is raw humanity. That's why the hermit energy makes so much sense. Their silence wasn't always about you. It was also about themselves. Because when someone is being forced into ego death, they don't want witnesses. They don't want anyone to see them unravel. They retreat. They disappear. They go quiet. They isolate. They convince themselves it's peace, but really it's self-confrontation. The hermit is the mirror they couldn't avoid. And in this hermit phase, they have been replaying your energy like a song they can't turn off. They remember your patience. They remember your softness. They remember the way you tried to understand them even when they gave you nothing. They remember moments you probably think they forgot. Tiny details. Your words. The timing. Your silence after their silence. The exact point where you stopped chasing. Because you did stop. Your energy changed. You pulled back. You protected yourself. You got tired of being the only one who cared out loud. And the moment you truly pulled back, the dynamic shifted. That's where judgment comes in. Judgment is not just, they miss you. Judgment is awakening. It is spiritual recognition. It is the soul rising up and saying, this matters. It's that moment where someone can't pretend anymore. The ego tries to downplay it, tries to rationalize it, tries to distract itself, but the soul keeps calling. That's why they are breaking their silence, because their soul is louder than their pride now. Judgment is also accountability. It's someone looking at themselves and finally admitting, I did that. I created this distance. I left things unfinished. I hurt them. I acted like I didn't care when I did. Judgment energy is a person standing in front of the truth with no escape routes. But here's the part people don't talk about enough. When someone awakens, it doesn't automatically make them brave. It makes them aware. And awareness can be terrifying. That's why the Eight of Swords appears. The Eight of Swords is anxiety. It's overthinking. It's the mental prison. It's someone trapped in their own head. They want to reach out, but fear blocks them. They want to explain, but they don't know how. They want to apologize, but they're afraid you'll reject them. They want to return, but their pride still twitches. Even if the ego is dying, it doesn't disappear overnight. It fights for survival. So they spiral. They type messages and delete them. They draft a confession and then convince themselves it's not the right time. They stalk your energy from a distance, watching, sensing, reading the room. They look for signs that you still care. They search for openings. They tell themselves they're being strategic, but really they're just scared. And what are they scared of? Not just rejection. They're scared you've outgrown them. Because deep down, they know you're not the same person they left behind. You're not in the same place emotionally. You're not as available. You're not as easy to access. You've got boundaries now. You've got self-respect now. You've got that calm power that comes from someone who finally chose themselves. And they feel that. That's why their return is not casual. They're not just checking in. They're not just bored. The Knight of Cups doesn't come to play games when it's surrounded by Tower, Death, Hermit, Judgment, and Eight of Swords. The Knight of Cups is the heart stepping forward after fear. It's the emotional message. It's the apology. It's the confession. It's the invitation. but it's also someone trying to do it right, because they don't want to return the same way they left. They don't want to come back cold or half-hearted. They don't want to come back pretending nothing happened. They know that would end it permanently. This time, they're being pushed to come back with sincerity. And the reason they're breaking their silence now is because the silence is no longer protecting them. It's punishing them. When ego is in control, silence feels like power. It feels like dominance. It feels like I'm winning because I'm not reacting. But when the ego starts dying and the heart wakes up, silence feels like loss. It feels like regret. It feels like self-betrayal. It feels like carrying a heavy stone on your chest every day you don't speak. They are realizing that their silence didn't make them strong. It made them lonely. They are realizing that pretending not to care didn't save them. It just delayed their healing. They are realizing that walking away didn't end the connection. It just forced the connection to haunt them from within. And now the haunting is becoming too loud. There's also something else here. The tower suggests a catalyst. Something happened in their life that made them see you differently. Maybe they experienced someone else's betrayal. Maybe they got humbled. Maybe a situation exposed their emotional immaturity. Maybe they lost someone or something important. Maybe they tried to move on and realized it felt empty. Or maybe they finally met someone who mirrored their own coldness back to them, and it hurt. Because sometimes the universe teaches people by letting them taste their own medicine. And that's where the ego death becomes real. Because suddenly they understand what it felt like to be on the other side. Suddenly they understand what it felt like to wait, to wonder, to be confused, to feel unchosen, to feel ignored. And they don't want that to be the ending with you. So now they are moving toward you not from the place of, I'll come back when I'm bored, but from the place of, I can't keep living like this. They're moving toward you not because they feel entitled to you, but because they feel accountable to the truth. They know there is unfinished energy between you. But I want to be very clear about something important. Their awakening does not erase your pain. Their ego death does not mean you owe them immediate access. Their return is not a command. It's a request. It's a moment where the energy is saying, now you get to choose. Because you are not the same person who tolerated crumbs. And this is why their 8 of Swords fear is so strong. Because they can sense that you won't accept the old version of them. They can sense that if they come back with confusion, mixed signals, or manipulation, you will close the door. They can sense that you have healed enough to walk away if it doesn't feel right. So what does this return actually look like? It looks like a soft message after a long silence. It looks like them testing the waters with something small but meaningful. It looks like them trying to sound calm while their heart is racing. It looks like, I've been thinking about you. It looks like, I hope you're doing okay. It looks like, can we talk? It looks like, I'm sorry. It looks like them finally naming the thing they kept avoiding. And if they're not saying it directly yet, you'll feel it in the energy. You'll feel sincerity where there used to be arrogance. You'll feel nervousness where there used to be coldness. You'll feel humility where there used to be control. Because the Knight of Cups is not the Knight of Swords. They're not coming to argue. They're not coming to defend themselves. They're not coming to prove a point. They're coming with feelings. And it's messy for them because feelings are what they avoided. Feelings are what scared them. Vulnerability is what they ran from. But now vulnerability is the only bridge back to you. This is why they are breaking their silence. Because they are tired of being a prisoner in their own mind. Because they are tired of carrying regret in secret. Because they have reached the point where risking rejection hurts less than living with what-ifs. Because their ego is no longer sitting on the throne, their heart is. And now, the silence has become the one thing standing between them and the truth. And they are finally ready to tear it down. So if you've been sensing a shift, if you've been dreaming about them, if you've been getting signs, If you've been feeling waves of emotion out of nowhere, it's because the energy is moving. Something is coming to the surface. Something is about to be spoken. But remember, only take what resonates with you. And if they do return, don't just listen to their words. Watch their energy. Watch their consistency. Watch their humility. Watch if they show up differently. Because real ego death doesn't just say, I'm sorry. Real ego death becomes a new behavior, a new pattern, a new level of emotional responsibility. And that's what makes this moment so powerful. Because this isn't just a return. This is a rebirth. And as we close this reading, I want you to take a deep breath and really sit with what you just heard. This was not a light message. This was not surface level energy. This was transformation. This was ego collapsing so the heart could finally speak. If they are breaking their silence, it is not random. It is not boredom. It is not convenience. It is the result of inner shaking, inner loss, inner awakening. But remember this gently and clearly. Their awakening does not require you to abandon your own growth. You have evolved too. You have healed too. You have learned too. If they return, let it be because it aligns with your peace, not because it disrupts it. You are not here to beg for clarity anymore. You are not here to chase words out of someone. You are here to receive honesty freely given. And if this ego death is real, you will feel it. It will show in their tone, their consistency, their vulnerability, their willingness to meet you where you stand now. Trust your intuition. Your intuition has always known the truth about this connection. It knew when something was off. It knew when they were hiding. And it will know if this return is genuine. If this message resonated with your heart, take it as confirmation that something is shifting beneath the surface. If it didn't, simply release it with love. Only take what resonates with you. The silence is ending, but the choice is yours. And until next time, protect your energy, honor your growth, and remember, the right love will never require you to shrink.